Cuba, it's me. Welcome to episode 299 of The W.I.L.L.I.W Show, which stands for Wrestling is Life, Life is Wrestling. And I've been going through every province in Canada and talking about the current wrestling scene out there and the history out there. And now I've made it to the wonderful, beautiful province of Newfoundland and Labrador. It seems from what I was able to find that there's actually only two promotions that are currently wrestling. Legend City Wrestling was doing well for itself, but it says that they closed up shop in 2016, and I couldn't find anything online anywhere that would tell me any different. So as far as I know, they are closed. And also there was a promotion called Newfoundland Pro Wrestling that is not currently doing shows anymore. But I was able to find two, and they're all based out of St. John's. There's Cutting Edge Wrestling. Now they seem to have a big 2017. They are having a show coming up February 18th, 2018. So check that out if you're able to. And then there's also New Evolution Wrestling, and they also have been doing really well for themselves, bringing in some great talent from around the world. And they have a show coming up January 26th, 2018, which will feature a triple threat ladder match. So that's all I was able to find. There was only 4 promotions listed, and I was trying to search through the history of Newfoundland wrestling and whatnot, and that's all I could really find. Now, there was also one thing, like when I was looking through it, that there was an article saying back in 1988, there was a crash, there was a van filled with 4 wrestlers, and 3 of them unfortunately passed away, it said. Dave Wildman McKigney, Pat Kelly, and Adrian Adonis. I guess their van swerved off a bridge. Reports are different, saying they tried to avoid an animal or they hit an animal or something, but it's a definitely tragedy, and I don't know why I bring it up. It just, I found it interesting because I never knew that. And I mean, Adrian Adonis was a big star back in the 80s, and Dave Wildman McKigney, he's famous. People in Canada know him. So I thought that was pretty sad that they passed away in Newfoundland. But moving on to some good things, as far as famous wrestlers that came from Newfoundland, when I clicked on it, there was only 3. There's A1, who wrestles a lot in Border City Wrestling, and he was a part of Team Canada for TNA Wrestling back in like 2005 era, around there. Team Canada with Bobby Roode and Eric Young and everything like that. And he was the Border City Wrestling champion for quite a while. Then there is Moondog King, who's also known as Sailor White. When he was Moondog King, he won the WWF Tag Team Championships, but then he had some border issues, so they ended up replacing him in the team, and he also wrestled as Sailor White. And I was fortunate enough to meet him. Actually, in the second show I ever wrestled, he watched me wrestle Sandy Davis, and Jesse Jones was a big part of that match, and he said he really liked the story we told. He didn't say that to me, but he said that to one of the other wrestlers, and I was really happy for the compliment. As far as the third other famous wrestler from Newfoundland, hey, I gotta say it, my boy, Bulldog Brandon Hines. He spent some time in Ontario. He also spent a lot of time in Newfoundland. He's had some great matches out there, and out here I wrestled him, and I personally was one of my favorite matches, and we definitely due for a rematch. But if you don't think about Bulldog Brandon Hines when you think about Newfoundland wrestling, then, well, he's been in pretty much every promotion that they've had. He's been in Cutting Edge, New Evolution, Legend City, and he's also the famous DJ Hinesy, who does some great DJ sets in and around some of the clubs there in Newfoundland. But when I think of Newfoundland wrestling, I think of Brandon Hines because, I consider him a good friend, and he's the one that knows everything, and he's the one to ask when anything. And he's also helped out some of my other friends get to go out there and wrestle, like Jimmy King wrestled there about a year or 2 ago. And a lot of people have gone out there and done tours for Newfoundland. Legend City had quite a few good names for them, and like I said, New Evolution, as I mentioned earlier, has had some good names. But there really wasn't that much on Newfoundland wrestling. I'm sure Brandon Hines, if he has a chance to view this, will correct me of anything I missed or anything I made a mistake of, because you can't always believe the internet. But I want to hear from the other viewers as well. Have you ever watched wrestling in Newfoundland? Have you ever known anything about the history of wrestling out there? Have you personally gone out there and wrestled or watched wrestling out there? Do you have any memories or anything? Because as always, on the Willu Show, like or you get a leg drop, comment or you get a clothesline, subscribe or you get a suplex. This is episode 299 of the Willu Show, and I'm your host, Elian Habanero. I love wrestling. Cuba!